So here's the architecture of the VSA product. Runs on the mainframe on ZOS, runs as a starter task, and we gather information from, so these are the data sources from ZOS SMF records in real time. We can send this event in real time to your SIM. Then we also can harvest the write to operator messages, or write to operator console messages, and also DB2 is where we gather information from. We require the IFU 83 and 84 and 85. In fact, 83 and 84 exits, they need to be available, so you need to make sure those are turned on, and that's where we gather the information from. In fact, when the starter task comes up, we'll tell you which ones we've connected to and which ones we are monitoring on. Then the write to operator console messages, those ICH 408I messages, or any messages that you deem important. Right now, we gather that through the subsystem and forward that off to your enterprise SIM. There is some changes going to take place. We have this on our roadmap. We're probably going to make this a little bit easier and go for a MCS or EMCS console and gather or capture those write to operator console messages through that mechanism. That's on our roadmap. Then also the SMF 100 and 102 messages is something that we gather from a DB2 point of view. So in VSA, you have a ISPF panel that you can use to configure what messages, what files you want monitored. And then also in the configuration of the actual product, you can turn on what SMF events you want enabled. So if you want the VSAM updates, the TCP/IP, FTP 119s, the SMF 80s, the SMF, boy, there's a whole bunch of them, SMF 42s, 30s, 17s, 18s, 62s. Those are all ones that you can turn on, but that all goes back to what you want to monitor and what we just spoke about, some of the questions you need to ask yourself. Also, if you're a site that uses more than one SAF product, so whether it's RACF, ACF2, and Top Secret, we don't care. We do support any one of these. If you're one cake running RACF and the other is running Top Secret, all you have to do is configure the agent to use whatever the local SAF product is that it's running. So we do support all three of those. And we also have some fine examples on all three of those. Then the APFs I mentioned, and also USS activity. All of this information is forwarded from the SIM agent on the mainframe to your enterprise SIM. So it could be QRadar, Splunk, ArcSight. We're agnostic. We send to any one of those in the correct format. We can deliver the messages using TCP, and that can be encrypted using ATTLS. So obviously there's really sensitive information that is being sent from the mainframe agent across to the enterprise SIM. So that's something that you may want to turn on. We also do have a mechanism if for some reason that we're trying to deliver these secure TCP, using TCP. Obviously TCP is connection oriented. We guarantee the delivery of these messages to your enterprise SIM, but let's assume for some reason that the enterprise SIM is not available and we're unable to deliver the messages. We will kick out a message to let you know that we're unable to deliver those messages to the enterprise SIM. That'll give you time to go and follow up with your SIM guys to find out if there's any outage on that area or on that box. Once they got it up, we will then send all of those all those secure messages, or all those messages that is destined for the QRadar, and we will deliver them. They'll be buffered up in the starter task or in the address space, and we will send them off. Obviously, there are some constraints as to how long we will keep those messages in the starter task. If you have a site that is running more than one enterprise SIM, so you have maybe two of them, maybe one for standby or one for backup. If you're using UDP, you can deliver to multiple sites. You just configure the IP address. So you can deliver them using TCP, securely using ATLS, or you can use UDP if that is your preference. Then to wrap it up, how this all fits into the big picture, so integrating your mainframe into your network security. We always ask folks, if you have an enterprise SIM, why is the mainframe excluded from it? Why not just include it? So here we've got agents running on all of these LPARs, and they're sending events to the enterprise SIM. The firewall guys and the router guys have been exploiting this for years. So those events are also being sent to your enterprise SIM, and also Windows and Unix. I was at a conference recently. The presenter was talking about the opportunity a customer had where they were monitoring events, some piece of this particular application resided on the mainframe and another piece resided on the Windows application. They were sending all of these events from both of these origins to the SIM, and they were able to piece all of that all together when they were tracking some sort of violation that they were looking into. Okay, short overview of VSA, some of the features. We have a TSO rule generator. I'll be showing you that in the live demo. So that's how you can add filters, message IDs and user IDs to the product to monitor. Then for those customers that have, maybe a large amount of rules that they want to add to the product, you can use the batch rule generator. So that's a batch job that implements these rules into these VSAM files. Something very interesting that a lot of customers like about the product is if you have some events that are archived, so perhaps you do not have this visibility right now and you intend to run an agent on one of your LPARs, that archive SMF information, you can take them and feed them through the batch feed of the product, send them off to your SIM, and you can get visibility on those records from a year or 2 or 3 years ago. So that's certainly something that some of our customers like. Alerts are delivered from the Mainframe agent using UDP, TCP to the SIM or to IDS. So something that we spoke about. So how does it work? It runs as a starter task on all of the LPARs that you want security events reported on. If you have 10 LPARs and you elect to run an agent on every one of those, you'd need 10 of those, one agent per LPAR. We use the industry standard UDP and also TCP to deliver the messages to the SIM. We can send to multiple destinations if that's a requirement. We can also write to DASD and exploit user SMF records. So if you have some of those products that are using user SMF records, we can certainly do that. And as I mentioned, agnostic, we can deliver to any one of the SIMs on the market. Supported log types, Leaf, you've heard of that. That's the one that QRadar uses, log event extended format. We are certified Leaf, so the format that we send the data from our agent to the SIM is in the format that complies with the IBM standard. So the event, there you can see it standards with the IBM QRadar Leaf format. So you will be guaranteed that the data is coming in the right direction, or getting it in the right format, shall I say. Then there's also the SAFE format, common event format, where it also complies with the requirements of HP ArcSight and common event format. Again, we will send the data, and when it gets to the other side, HPE ArcSight will be able to understand and interpret that data.